let's start the official uh, podcast for Let's Get You Painted. Hello to everyone out there. Welcome to Let's Get You Painted. I'm Alec, and here's my co host, Jason.
Hello, I'm Jason.
So, Jason and I both have been painters for a while. We are friends in real life, and we talked about teaching people how to paint quick and efficient, and also, some of the fun stuff that we listen to or talk about or talk to or things like that when we are painting. So that's the Let's Get You Painted podcast. We also have videos up, which are video on demand to teach different things and demonstrate how we do videos. Uh, so Jason, tell me a little bit about yourself, or tell the viewers a little bit about
Right?
yourself.
Sure. I am 51 years old. Sure, that sounds good. We'll go with that. I'm 51. I just retired from 20 years active duty Navy submarine force. I've been doing Games Workshop tabletop gaming since I was 14 years old. So I've been painting and modeling for quite some time. I got
Hmm.
out of most of Games Workshop stuff except for their side games like Necromunda, um, Gene Stealer, Deathwing, um, a lot of their side stuff. I've decided I like more squad based campaign kind of games like Frostgrave and Necromunda, that kind of stuff, where I don't need thousands and thousands of models and dollars to buy those models. Um, I just I buy a lot more than I paint, just like everybody else in the world. So I have a substantial gray army, and Alec and I decided we wanted to do this channel so we can show people, hopefully, a quick, easy, and fun way to quickly diminish their gray army to get painted models on the table. Recently, I've decided that I really, really love the combination of slap chop and speed paints, but I do not believe that those are the be all end all to painting. I believe that's just a phase or a stage in the painting progress. So once
Hmm.
you've slap chopped and speed painted your model, um, that could be table ready and you could be done and be like really happy with those models. But I believe that's kind of just the middle phase, really. That gets you table ready, maybe even tournament. Wow, I can't say that word, Alec. Help me out.
A tournament.
Tournament. There we go. Um, uh, get you tournament ready for like Games Workshop and other companies. Say you got to have three colors besides your base coat, even if your base coat for Blood Angels is Blood Angels red, right?
Hmm.
So you need the black on the gun, the metal silver on the muzzle brake or the barrel, and then like a green or eye color, right? Um, or black and white symbols on the armor to get you your three colors, even though most of the model is the base spray paint red, right?
Hmm.
Uh, and that's like slap chop and speed paint, right? Once you slap chop the model, which is spray painting it black and then dry brushing it gray to leave the black in the recesses and then highlighting it white. This is just a stage to get you your magical three color tones for every color that you put on a model to make it look realistic and not cartoony or just flat, right? Every color you put on a model should have a deep recess color, an overall base color, and then a highlight color. And that makes
Okay.
it look realistic. And we have to paint that onto the model. We have to like paint the sunlight direction where that's coming from. And we're going to show you all this in the future. A tip I want to point out is if we're painting on the model highlights to indicate what direction sunlight's coming from, doing it on one model is great if that's just a showcase model. But once you put that model into a group or an army, you kind of have to have all the models having the same direction of sunlight, right?
Here,
Otherwise,
let
your
me.
mind and your subconscious is going to notice something's wrong.
So while you're doing that, I am actually going to grab a piece to demonstrate this. Um, so for everyone watching on Twitch, they get to see some of this stuff. All right. So here, this is a piece I painted a long time ago. And what Jason is describing with the light, so in this, the light I have is coming from the front. So the piece, the actual highlights, you can see where it's going to hit the cape a little differently. And the light is supposed to be up and higher. And then deeper in the recesses, it's a little bit dark. But then when you go to the back of the model, if you notice, it's actually significantly darker. And it's the idea that the light is coming from in front of him as if he is like running into the sun or running into something, instead of just being directly above. It's as if he is running into the light. Um, but this is where Jason is talking about the recesses and things like that. So it's not just there's a shadow under here. I actually used darker paint and then lighter paint on top. So I'm gonna put this away. Go ahead, Jason.
The other
I just
thing
wanted
I
to
was saying
demonstrate.
is, oh yeah, yeah, that looked good. Appreciate that. Since we can't see anything that I'm doing, you just hear my voice.
We're going to work on
Uh,
that though. We're going to get so that you can see what you're doing as well.
um, and what I said earlier about slap chop and speed paint isn't the end all be all. When you're taking a model that's gray and then priming it and then getting it to table ready and tournament or competition ready for a painting competition, there's not just one way to do anything. We're going to show you a bunch of ways to do everything. Um, you can start off with a white model, put paint on it, and then ink it and wash it to get the darkness into the crevices and cracks. But that's going to darken up your whole model. So in
Mm-hmm.
a future video, I plan on uh, priming 20 of the same model in different ways: white, black, gray, and slap chop, and then taking you through the painting process so you can see that you can get from point A to point D in multiple ways, but depending on how you go about it is going to affect the end results, even if you use the exact same colors on that model.
I think that's a great
Okay.
example, and I can't wait to see your videos on that, as well as I'm sure the viewers.
A lot of people really hate slap chop for some reason, and I don't understand why. And they're like, well, you can do it this way and you can do it this way and get the same effect. And you can do it multiple ways. My way isn't the only way, and it's certainly not the right way because a lot of people slap chop differently than I do.
Do
Um,
you mean like sponge chop?
yes, or with an airbrush. And
Yep.
I've seen people try to slap chop with an airbrush, and people argue that airbrush will give you finer results on the model because the paint's thinner and it, less thick layers, no paint lines and all that. But when somebody tries to take a model and say I'm trying to slap chop it with an airbrush, you're basically just base coating the model 3 times because you paint it black, and then when you do the airbrush with the matte gray or the medium to light gray, which is the second phase, you're just
Mm-hmm.
repainting the whole model because there's hardly no black left that you can see because you just repainted the whole model because
Now,
while
what
the
about
airbrush
when
has
someone paints from above? If they do a different direction, so we're like with
some
the zenithal highlight.
zenithal painting, right? So that's a different type of technique, really. And they're trying to do the same effect. Where if you paint the model black, paint the whole model black, and then you take a gray or a white, and mostly people use white, and you take that white spray can and you're trying to come from the direction of the sunlight and you spray that model, again, you're totally obliterating mostly the dark crevices, right? If you hit it really lightly, you may leave some of the black on the other side of the model, right? But you're pretty much adding a second base coat of white to that model. You can do it maybe, but most of the time I see people just adding 3 base coats to that model to go black, gray, and then white, and it just seems like a waste of time to me
Okay.
because you're totally obliterating the previous steps unless you're leaving the dark crevices dark. And I wish I had a model I can show you, uh, but
Trying to think
I
if I
will do
have
that
one.
soon as I get my video working and I record something.
Here, I got one. This is an example of a zenithal highlight or white dry brushing over black, which is what you're talking about. Well, you're talking about also doing it over and over again. I don't have an exact copy or an exact idea of what he's showing, but this is what he's talking about with like the zenithal highlight. So the zenithal, so the model was painted black, and then from above we hit it with white to give it a better look. Also to give it actual a natural shadow on here because the white cannot get fully underneath him.
Gotcha. So hold the model upside down so you
Oh,
can see the bottom of it.
let me see if my camera
Can you
gets it.
show the bottom of the model?
Oh, like oh here, yeah, it's just straight plastic, or in this case resin.
I was just
So
trying to like looking up its nose or whatever, so you can see
oh
where the black is left underneath.
yeah, here.
Right? Because when
So you
you
you actually
spray
have
paint from the top down, yeah, there you go.
so here you see like the black, some of the black. It wasn't perfect because I did this with rattle can, not an airbrush. If I would have done it with an airbrush, it would look a lot better. Let me see if I have a piece that's better than.
You can see some shading there, but you see how it's very minimal, and it's
Yeah,
almost totally re-base coated in white. Almost all the black's gone.
here, this is a
So
better example. So this I did by hand. So let's see. But if you flip it upside down, see how dark it is? So like that is, let's see if I can get it to zoom in. So
yep,
that is like that's like black. That's the same black. I don't know if it's showing, but that's because like this. This is the same black as this. His foot is black. On here is all black. Right over here is all black. That's under black. There's a little bit of white when you get out to his arm out here.
but if you look at that model and you spin it like you're looking at it on the tabletop, you can see the folds in the cloth and the wind and all that stuff because you've left the gray or the black in the cracks and you haven't
Yes.
fully painted over it,
Yeah.
right? You can actually see the multiple coats, which you have to do by hand. I
Yes.
don't know how
That's
you're going
that's
to get that highlight done with an airbrush.
well, that's why I
It's just
grabbed
gonna
one that I did by
coat
hand
that up.
versus one that I did rattle can.
Yeah. I'm not saying it can't be done. I am saying I can't do it, and so I don't try it. But
Oh no,
if
I understand.
you're not leaving some evidence of the previous base coat, you're just totally obliterating it with the new color. You're just rebasing the model, and it's wasting time and paint and possibly covering over minute, fine details with the layers of paint. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. I agree. I'm kind of a weird person where still prefer I have an airbrush, but I still prefer to hand paint. I my favorite thing is to hand paint a model. And sometimes like this,
I'll
so this I'm
airbrush a
putting a
base coat all day. Yeah.
oh I mean yeah, so I normally use a rattle can for that. And by rattle can I should say that that's actually a spray can, like spray paint. That's what rattle can is. So if you're wondering out there in the future listening to us, that's what rattle can is. It's just a spray can. Um, but I agree with Jason that I am not good enough with an airbrush to do that. I'm sure there are some people out there who are. I personally am not, and that's okay. Like as I posted in our channel stuff, there's no wrong way. As long as you're happy with the model, I don't care. And like that's the thing is
100%.
at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what I say or what Jason says. It's if you're happy with your model. And if you're happy with your model, ignore us. Ignore us completely. Just be happy.
We're just trying to get people to paint, have fun
Yes.
doing it, and get games in with painted models.
Yes.
And I've taken my slap chop brine bloods to the table because I've been anxious and like they're not ready yet, but I want to play with my new models, you know?
Yeah.
So,
No, I understand completely.
and people will want to play. If they're in your hobby, they're playing your game, um, they're going to want you to play. And that might even help them to see you bring your models to the table in the various completed stages, or you're trying to get to the completed stage as, hey, this is just primed. Hey, this is just slap chop. Hey, now I've just added 4 base colors on top of my slap chop, you know? Let them see that progress because that'll also encourage them to paint their models and get stuff painted. And when it's table ready and good to go, it's going to be a lot more fun for you. And you're going to have people talk to you and ask you how you did it and congratulate you and say it looks good. And it's
Yeah,
just
I
fun to do. That's why I really, really enjoy this hobby. And it's a hobby, it's not just a game because you have to model, you have to paint, um, and then you have to roll dice. And I don't roll dice so well.
well, that is true.
Dice are not my friend.
That is
But we're
very
not
true.
talking about that. We're talking about painting, right?
We are. Hey, you could have a beautifully painted model and still roll bad, and that's okay. But at least you're painted. But here's the thing. It's we understand that everyone has time constraints. So up until recently, Jason had a full-time job, um, and he's probably about to have two jobs by school and stuff like that too. And so he understands just like I do because I have kids and stuff and a wife. He also has a wife. Um, that everything takes time, and one of the reasons we really want to try to encourage people to paint is just because we personally think playing painted is better than not. It shows that you're dedicated to take some time and do it. But we also know that not everybody has a lot of time to spend to do it. And we want to help those people who don't have a lot of time, or heck, even maybe people who are newer to the hobby. We want them to be able to play painted as well. And in newer game systems here, or in some of the older game systems, they're going to, if you want to go to a tournament, you have to have a three color minimum, which is one of the things that Jason mentioned earlier. And so we would like to try to get everyone painted. I'm hoping to be able to pick up a Gravedigger army for uh, which is a War Machine faction. Though I should say that on this channel, we are not only going to be painting War Machine models, we're going to paint everything because we want to teach everyone. And we're going to do different painting techniques so we can teach everyone. But I'm
It doesn't
hoping
matter
here,
what game system you're using, right? So
yeah,
I'm going to be doing some Frostgrave stuff. I'm going to be doing some Necromunda stuff.
hmm
Corvus Belli Infinity. Wife and I
yep,
are getting into that game. So we're going to be doing some of those models. So just because we might not be doing the exact same game that you do, painting is painting, right? And it just applies to the detail that you want to go, the amount of time that you want to put into it. And I'm going to show you that sometimes you don't have to have a $25 brush to make a good effect, right? I've gone to
absolutely.
Dollar General store to buy makeup brushes that I use for dry brushing because they're a buck 25 for a brush, and I get the exact same effect as my $5 or more Citadel brush. The I have some golden maple brushes. A
Speaking
lot
of
of times,
makeup,
brushes are really, really expensive.
speaking of makeup brushes, here's an example of a makeup brush, which happens to be used for dry brushing. Um, eh,
100%.
so yeah, that's the thing. We want people to have fun and we want people to paint. And we personally, we talked about this before the stream and we've been talking about this for years now, that by making painting fun, we think more people will play painted and will by so painting their models. So we want people to have fun and paint. And that's the goal of this podcast. And like we were joking about earlier, if people show up, that's great. If not, it'll be two guys talking into the void of the internet, just painting minis.
It's fun.
But that's okay. Maybe we do help someone. Maybe we don't. Now, one of the things I'm going to probably do on these when we're doing the podcast, I'm not going to be doing slap shopping as much. I'll probably do a little bit of it, but one of the things I pulled out for today was a piece, and I'm actually just painting this piece to have fun. And it's going to be more of a test example of what I want to do with potential gravediggers. And yeah, I'm trying to test out these colors. Um, I'm trying to make non-metallics metallic. So the exact opposite of what our friend the Ice King does, who is a friend of the channel. He is trying to make um, metallics non-metallic, which is a whole talk about a skill level. That man can paint. Uh, Whereas I'm doing the exact opposite. I'm bringing metallics into this. So Jason, you've painted a lot of different minis. Is there one mini that stands out to you that is one of your favorite minis that you have painted over the years? You there, buddy? Um, hmm. For some reason, we are not hearing Jason. All right. Well, I'm gonna keep painting here and chatting, and hopefully we can hear Jason here in a little bit. Jason, if you're there, I can't hear your microphone, and it's not queuing up on Discord, which is actually where we are currently chatting. So let's see what happens. Sometimes this is one of those things that happens, folks. You get a little technical difficulties and you just kind of work around it. And that's okay. So like I said, I'm currently painting um, Magnus with his Warjack Invictus. And I took first some dark camo green, and then I added in a little bit of um, transparent green, and then I also added in white. It's called metallic medium, and that's going to make, so I don't know if you can see it on screen, but that's going to make this model um, a little bit more green. I'm sorry, not green. It's going to make it shiny. So it's going to make it look as if it's metallic. So let's see. I guess the lighting's probably not good enough in here. Eventually, if I do some different lighting, you will be able to see the reflective parts. All right. So I am just going to keep painting as we wait for Jason to come back. So I asked Jason what's one of his favorite pieces painting. And so as we wait for him to come back, I will discuss one of my favorite pieces painting. So I think, man, there's probably been a lot. Probably in 40K, which is another game system, I'd probably say my favorite piece that I've painted was um, the second time I painted a piece called Belial, which is a Dark Angel Deathwing. He is the commander of the Deathwing, and he back in the day, if you wanted to bring a whole bunch of Dark Angels or Dark Angel Deathwing, you had to bring Belial to make them troop choices, so they weren't elite choices. I don't play any uh, 40K right now, but that was just one of the things. Yeah, let me make sure. All right, okay. Just want to make sure I was still on screen in OBS. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just going on to some of his his armor highlights. not armor highlights, higher armor points, and I'm just doing this dark green that I mixed up. Um, I also put some of it over here on Magnus himself. So I'm gonna do some of these high points on him, and then what I'll do is I'll add in a little bit of lighter color and do some highlights to it. Now none of these pieces have actually been, um, really zenithalled. They're pretty much plain. I guess technically they were black, and then I think actually, you know what? I think they were just gray. I think they just got primed gray. I actually got this piece in a trade, and so this is the way I got it. But I'm testing out my color scheme. Oops, that works. So I'm testing out my color scheme that I want to do for my gravediggers on here, which is going to be a lot of different greens and browns and grays and blacks, and that's kind of what I'm doing. So I'm just going to keep painting. So I told you guys about my Dark Angel. Belial is my favorite to paint. Now, if we're going to go into War Machine, one of my favorite things I painted, it was actually probably recently, would have been my Shrine of the Lawgiver. Now with it, I learned a new technique, which was how to do marble to make the stone look like it was marble. It was a little difficult of a thing for me. I had to strip the model and start again several times, but I really wanted the piece to look nice, and so I kept working on it. And that's sometimes one of the things you have to do. You just have to keep working on a piece and working on it until it comes out correct. I actually painted it for the Racked and Confused painting channel. I wish I would have saved those videos. I did not. I didn't realize when I came back to Twitch that all the videos. I was like, oh yeah, I know they stay up, and for some reason in my brain, I thought they stayed up for like 30 days, not. I think it's like less than 2 weeks. And with that, I lost some of those videos. That's okay though. Like it'll all work out in the end. So that was a Shrine of Lawgiver. That was a lot of fun to paint. Um, let's see. What other things I've painted? Oh man, this takes me really back. But when I painted in Warhammer Fantasy, one of my favorite pieces to paint was Orion. So Orion is basically the god of the elves. I can't remember if he's the god or the king um, of the Wood Elves, which is what I played, and I just loved painting him. Um, yeah, it's a lot of fun to paint him. Now, one of the things I talk about when painting sometimes, or like when I paint on my own stuff, um, don't kill yourself about getting all these super hard to reach pieces unless you're painting um, for like a big fancy, like a P3 or a Golden Demon or something like that. If someone's not going to really see super deep into it, don't worry about it. Don't kill yourself trying to get in there. Like you can see right now, I'm painting in here, um, but that's just because I have some time and why not? Now it's funny, the camera is actually going to be able to see it a little bit better than me. Oh, are you back, Jason?
I'm back.
Welcome back,
I
sir.
didn't read on the shoulder. Thanks. Um, is that triangle underneath the spike going to be a different color, or did you
God, is that triangle underneath this? Maybe. We'll see.
turn the model? Turn it towards you. See the two spikes on the right shoulder?
Oh, up here? Yeah, those are going to be different.
Your other right shoulder?
My other right shoulder. No, this is his
Underneath
right.
that second spike.
This is his left. Yeah, here's his right.
The right arm, that is the right arm, correct. Underneath that spike, is that going to be a different color or should that be green?
Oh, under here? That's an excellent point.
No,
No, I
no.
think I,
Turn the
I think I'll
model.
go.
You can look at that shoulder. Never mind.
Oh, you mean in
Okay.
here? Yeah, I'll go a little bit different color because I'm actually gonna do. I want to do maybe a bronze in there. Actually, no, because I'm gonna do the
I was
rivets in
talking
bronze.
about underneath the second spike, where your finger is, almost.
Oh, under here. No, this is all
No.
gonna get. This right here is gonna be green. Let's see, get the camera to zoom in.
Okay.
This is gonna be green here. The chain will be a different color, and the spike ball will be a different color.
With the spike coming out of his shoulder.
Oh, this will be a different. This will be a different color. But no, I did miss right here. That needs to get painted.
Gotcha. I thought you were gonna paint like a faction symbol or something.
I thought about it. Maybe I could paint a Menofix in there. Well, I'd probably do like a red Menofix. I can do it on that green. Freehand it.
You're gonna have them hired to you. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's a good topic. What do you do to mercenaries that normally work for any faction? How do you make them the faction that they're currently fighting for? So, like, you play Menoth, which is
Hmm.
a holy roller, burn you at the stake with a flamethrower kind of zealot force. And this guy you're painting is a mercenary that doesn't normally fight for them. But since you're hiring them to fight for you, are you going to put any Menoth stuff on them to help
Uh,
them blend in with the rest of your army?
I might put a Menofix on here or there, like specifically this piece right here might get a Menofix, like I'll freehand one in. But other than that, no, I kind of make the mercenaries stand out because in my mind, in the head canon, if someone is working, like specifically if it's like Magnus or Carver or something like that, they might work for Protector of Menoth, they might work for Signar or something like that, but are they really going to repaint their jack? Probably not. I think their ego is going to say, "Nah, we don't need to repaint that. Take me as I am, or that's it." Now, I
Right?
might do this plate green as well, but I think here I'm going to go with a silver underneath. What about you? What do you do, Jason? Do you buy? Now, I should say that in the past, I would buy more than one mercenary, and I would actually paint them. So this is years ago. I have definitely painted multiples for each faction, or in some cases, I've made them match the actual army, that not just an overall army, but the um, sorry, my brain is fried. No, but the actual subsection. So, for example, if it was errants, they might have more gold on them, whereas if they were like Temple Flame Guard, there might be more bone white.
Uh-huh.
But other than that, I don't. I just like in more modern times in the past, probably 5 or 10 years, I have the mercenaries kind of look mercenary.
Yeah. I like the way a lot of the models look on the box, and sometimes I'll try to paint them as close as I can to look like the models on the box.
Hmm.
But like the model in your hand right now is probably over $80, right? With the Magnus and
Yes.
that
Yeah.
character deck. So I wouldn't buy like three of those so I can have one for each faction that I play, kind of thing. That's just too much money. But
I mean, back in the day, like a mercenary was $5 or $6, so it was more reasonable. It was easier to do it back then.
sure.
But go ahead. So how would you do it?
Oh, I would paint him to look as close as I could to be on the box, but then I might do a single shoulder pauldron,
Hmm.
something that kind of stands out and is noticeable from far away. I would repaint that one bit to match the Signar or the Kador or the whatever army I'm playing that he's
Hmm.
supposed to be hired for.
Yeah.
Because realistically, just like us now in that world, how hard would it be to get a rattle can and throw on a paint a coat to match. Say, hey, don't shoot me. I'm fighting for your side, right?
I'd like to think that some of these named mercenaries, these characters, that they are so well known that, the average Joe on the field is like, oh yeah, that's Magnus, he did this, or, that's Boomhowler and he did this. And with that, people wouldn't want, they'd be like, oh man, he's fighting for us this time, and they would know. Or they maybe get the briefing. Now, what could be really rough in that regard is if he changed sides on you. You know, Here I'm making another metallic by doing sanguine base and putting in more of the metallic medium, which is it's from Pro Acrylic, which is done by Monument. I think, right, Jason? Am I wrong? Does
Pro
Monument
acrylic.
own?
That
Uh,
sounds. Um, I'm looking at my bottle right here. It is. Yep, has the M symbol on it. That is
yeah,
definitely
so it's Monument.
owned by Monument Hobbies. Yeah.
They have some great paints. I'm pretty excited eventually to see the new P3s coming out.
Yeah, we're waiting for our ship. We've been tracking this ship go up and down the East Coast, but it hasn't dropped off my paint yet.
Oh, has it? I like
Apparently.
I know that they've posted it, but I haven't actually been looking that heavily into it because I'm like I just need to focus.
Yeah, apparently they'll if you did the Kickstarter,
Hmm.
um they should have sent you an email and you cuz like this is your ship with your palette of paint on it somewhere. And
Gotcha.
Bix
I
has
mean,
been following it up and down the coast and it's like no ETA of where's my set of 150 paints or whatever it is.
oh, did you do the full one? I didn't do the full. I just did how many did I do? I did the standard box, which I think is 10, and then I did the irregular box as well.
I think we did two because the wife paints, and then
Hmm.
got to have her own loops. So
Obviously.
we got her a set and me a set, and I think we also did the irregular and maybe one other small group of 10, like maybe the metallics or whatever else they were doing.
Gotcha.
So we've done P3 paints for a long time because you and I are press gangers way back in the day when
Yeah.
those were a thing.
Well,
And
they're
then
coming back though. They
and
said they are coming back.
yeah,
So maybe you can be a
that'll
press
be
ganger
awesome.
again.
I don't know. I'm about to start classes where I'm in class from like 8 in the morning till 3:30 at night. So I don't know how much energy I'm gonna have for press ganging again.
I mean, that's why they make energy drinks, buddy.
Uh, yes.
Sugar-free energy drinks.
Uh, I've tried lots of paints. I have Citadel paints that are older than your kids, and they're still good.
I
I've
have
gone through
Citadel
all the
paints that are
bottle,
I have Citadel paints that are older than my kids. Uh,
but are they still good? Are they the
eh,
right bottles?
I think some of my because I bought a huge amount of Caliban green. I'm sure there's ones that are not even opened that are probably just if you give them a good enough shake, they probably be all right.
Yep. Right now, I'm loving the Army Painters speed paints. Working
Yeah,
out
I
pretty well
need
for me.
to go and buy some of those. I haven't got a chance, but that's one of the things I'm going to be probably doing with dark green, light green, um, dark brown, and light brown, so that I can really get these gravediggers out and done. Because if I want to be fully painted for Nova, which I do, I want to be fully painted for that. Um, then I need,
You get your models by then.
yeah, That's a separate issue. Um, not
It's hard to
everybody
be
can.
fully painted if you don't even have models.
Yeah. Hey, you know what?
What armor are
If
you bringing? You trying to bring grave diggers?
I would like to bring gravediggers. I've been, doing a lot of theory crafting with them, and I think it'd be a lot of fun to play with them. Man, I think I need to redo this torso. There's way too much wiggle here. Let me see. Yeah. Hold on, I'm gonna pull this off
Yeah,
screen for a second. I wonder if it got
let's
pinned or just
find
a bad
some
paint. Ooh, that paint
latex.
just came across. Here, see the paint came apart. I knew it was a bad, like it kept getting more and more wiggle in there. That's actually gonna help me with painting this guy a little bit. Um,
Well, remember, if the model's going to cover it up,
no,
you don't want
I
to
know,
waste
I know. That is a very good
it. It'll
rule
help
that,
you get your brush into the thing areas that will still be seen. So,
yeah.
yeah,
So
that's
Jason brought up a
that's
really
always the
excellent
debate,
point.
right?
Oh, speaking of a Menofix, look, there's one right here. Oh, I'm pretty sure he probably took. Oh,
That's
there's a
why he's a
Signar.
traitor.
Yeah, there's also a Cygnus right there too, the Signarian Swan. So maybe those are battle trophies, not necessarily
Yeah, that's what I
good
was going to say.
things. Yeah. Yeah, so here's an example. So we were talking about like so this green part right here, or this gray part right here is excuse me, this gray part right here was actually covered up by the model, which is why there's no paint on it. So I could paint it right now, and I'm going to. Excuse me. But I am in future models, I will not like take them apart to uh to get those hard to reach places because I'm not going to enter these for the big painting competitions. Um,
Question is,
my
will it be seen when the model's put back together?
Oh no,
And if
that's
it's
not
not
going
going
to
to
be.
be seen, is it worth the time?
I mean, it takes me 10 seconds to put paint there. So, yeah, I can just because now that I've seen it, my brain is going to tell me that I didn't paint it. So, Jason, what do you do while painting if you're not chatting with me?
Uh, I listen to an audiobook or I listen to music.
So, what kind of music do you listen to?
Uh, music. Um,
Music.
so why would I have you hosted to the sound of my voice? I will tell you all the weird things that I love to listen to, like Mongolian throat singing.
Yeah, like the hue.
Yeah, I like if you want to throw horns in the air, bang your head, and laugh your ass off at the same time, you need to listen to Wind Rose. It
That's a good
is
one.
metal, and these guys dress up like dwarves and rock out and talk about Diggy Diggy Hole. You can Google that Diggy Diggy Hole by
That's a good
Wind
song.
Rose, and just amazing. So stuff like that, stuff that moves me, um, and stuff I can understand. I like to listen to music where I don't have to look up what the lyrics are because it's all, just
So
uh,
no Norwegian death metal for you there?
uh, not so much unless I'm watching a video and you know, good looking lead vocalist or something.
Gotcha.
Otherwise, that's just not my cup of tea.
Can understand.
So yeah, I listen to audiobooks. I'll listen to music. Um, a lot of times, my wife and I will be painting side by side on our tables. We'll just talk about something,
Hmm.
or depending if I'm on my portable table downstairs, we'll have portable like rolling TV dinner tray table.
Hmm.
I don't know how else to describe them. They're from IKEA.
No, no, I
Um,
know what you're talking about.
but
Yeah,
we'll
the
throw on
little.
a movie, some anime, something like that.
Heck
Just
yeah.
some background noise. Right now, while you are doing that, I'm pulling off your toppers from my 3D printer
Ooh,
for
nice.
your grave diggers. Got your 50 and 40 millimeter bases.
Okay.
So I got to pull off my magnetic metal build plate and then dunk them into the washing machine, the
Hmm.
washer, and then I'll put them in the curing thing after I break them off. I have to tell you, the boards, wooden grooves in the slat boards for the trenches and the sand looks really good, brother.
I'm excited. Oh, I was gonna say, I might need to ask you to do an 80 millimeter and a 120, just in case, or maybe two 80 millimeters and a 120. Um,
Yep, I was going to.
okay. I know I gave you the list of things, and then I was like, oh, I didn't tell him 80 millimeters or 120s or. Yeah, I was guessing, because that's gonna be those are more bases like the guess I gave you was more pieces than what I'm currently gonna have. Not that I have anything right now. Um, but I figured that way I'm not being like, hey, got more models in. Can you send me more stuff? So Jason and I met at Atlantis Games and Comic, and we've been chatting about War Machine stuff. And um, I was a bad influence. I got him back into probably a little bit more 3D printing, and convinced him after showing him how my bamboo works to get him a for him to get a bamboo, and then he bought one for his wife. And then after that, we were talking, oh, we need
No, no, no.
resin now.
We got to back up. The wife got her own bamboo, and she got my bamboo.
Oh, right. Okay. So that's right. So his wife bought him it. I'm sorry, Bix. I apologize. Uh, you rock as a wife for getting your husband a printer. I think those legs are looking pretty good.
Yeah, once we get my camera working, we'll be able to see. The IKEA makes this wall pegboard thing,
Hmm.
and you can 3D print little clips and trays to hold 5 paint pots, either upright or upside down. And I have 2 of those on my wall. And my wife Bix 3D printed all the paint holders for me. And there's some on her side of the room as well. Uh, and they're kind of half empty now because we've been waiting for this P3 paint stuff to come in.
So, Jason, what is your opinion on using washes? Because we've talked about doing different types of speed paints. What do you think about those? Do you think you should just dunk a big model and let it go to town, or do you sometimes use washes,
I,
sometimes not, sometimes paint them on?
um, if you've been painting for a while, you'll notice that for like April Fools, there'll be advertisements for thing that's a joke. So like Army Painter has dip cans, uh, dip wash can. How do
Hmm.
I say that to not be like tobacco reference? They
I
have a
think you.
can of wash that you dip your model into to wash the whole model in one color. And I
Yeah,
think
just
that's
bloop.
pretty lazy, but especially when you have a model of multiple colors and maybe one wash isn't going to go good on every single one of those. Uh, but it's a way to paint, right?
Yeah.
And when I slap chop and then speed paint, that makes a model look close to being finished and looks good and it's tabletop ready, but it's not the end all be all. There's steps that I need to go to finish that model. And I think washes and inks and glazes, if you want to go that route, is a necessary step to if you want to say this model's finished
Hmm.
and not have somebody like, well, did you do this? Did you do that? You can make it better if, right? There's
Hmm.
always more steps you can do. But in my opinion, even with slap chop and speed paint giving you those three tones and making the model really pop, you can go back and add more washes to give a highlight, right?
Yeah.
And when I do my 20 model paint thing, I'll have five white base coated models and five gray and five black and then five slap chopped. And I'll have five of each just so you say, this is one or two coats of paint to get it from start to finish. And this is how a white base coated model compares to a black base coated model, right? And you
Yeah.
can see that the black base coat is going to really darken and subdue those colors, while white is going to make them pop, right? And there's a debate out there like, do you really need to do a black undercoat for metallics? And I'm just going to paint straight metallics on top of white and then paint it straight on top of black. And then you can look at those models and see for yourself, not just take my word for it, that a black undercoat will really make those metallics more lustrous.
Yeah.
What's the word I'm looking for? Is it lustrous?
No, no,
Yeah.
I think it is. It
Um,
makes it'll make it pop significantly more. It'll give it a little bit more detail with it. It'll make it so you have to use less coats of the metallic in addition to it. So I asked because so for some of these models, I definitely would have no problem using, a null oil or an Agrax Earthshade, which are two of the common um,
washes or shades.
washes,
Yeah.
shades. They used to be called washes, now they're called shades. So these are two Citadel ones, and they can be very easy for when speed painting on just getting stuff done. So for example, like here I have this. It's not dry yet, but once this is dry, I can do an example of what a wash looks like just by doing a aga or Agrax Earthshade on it, and you'll just see that it'll make it pop. So you'll see it'll like soak in, make it a little bit more detail and stuff like that. But a lot of these colors, like with these greens, I don't really want to use a wash on it because it'll just mute it out.
And I might caution you, but if you're going to put a wash on that leather looking bag,
Hmm.
you may want to paint the buckles on it first and have that wash help make those pop as well too. You can do
See,
it after. So that's
I was
what
gonna
we're
do it
talking about.
afterwards. So I personally like the buckles to really look shiny, and sometimes I feel like if I do the wash after I do the buckles, then you're not gonna see as much. Or sometimes when
Right.
I'm
It'll
really
go like that.
feeling wild, I will do a brown wash on the leather, like doing here, and then after I do the buckles, if I do need to make them pop, I will go in. So I don't obviously put a huge amount on. I put just a little bit, just enough to to seep into some of the crevices to give more of a realistic leather look. But so if
Just we're
need
talking about
be,
earlier.
after I do the piece, what I might do is do the silver or the bronze buckles and then actually go in with a null oil on top of that to make the buckles. This is where I was talking about like I that's why I don't try to, just apply a wash to the whole model because each color is a little different. Maybe you need a green wash, maybe you need a brown wash, maybe you need a black wash. But I'm
Yeah.
I'm okay with like I say for people I was like just paint your models, be happy with it. That's
I can tell you I love doing washes, and I agree with you 100%. I would never dip a model just because there's too many different colors on that model, and even the brown or the black normal isn't going to necessarily go with every single color you have on that model.
yeah.
And it's going to darken it, and it's just adding more steps that I'll have to go back to re-highlight, re-base coat, maybe something, right?
All right. So as the camera zooms in a little bit, you're going to see that with the wash in place, it's going to make the detail of the actual rucksack itself a little bit better. And that's what he's talking about. That if we were to do a wash, this green wouldn't be as vibrant as it was, and the fact that I did metallic on it, it's gonna kind of let it just fade away. I'll actually go and clean my brush real quick. I'm gonna grab a bronze. I think I have some on my palette still. Get a smaller brush. This is a O, whereas I was using I think a 3. And it's worn out. I can't see what it was anymore. That's the problem. Sometimes like the oils from your hand soak out whatever you were doing. All right. Yep, it's still wet. Good. So get this on camera. Come on, zoom in. There we go. So there we go. There's the bronze. And it stands out a little bit more, the fact that I did it after the fact. But again, like Jason and I have been talking about the whole time, just paint and have fun. That's the most important part. Like there have been a lot of times where I did a commission and I had to paint because I wanted to every single rivet on a model. Do you need to paint every single rivet? Absolutely not. Did I do it for a commission? Yes. Did I think that the person noticed every single rivet? Probably not.
But if you do a wash around those rivets, it's going to make them stand out a little better.
Absolutely. But with doing it this way, I'm going to have to be very careful with doing the wash so I don't ruin the green.
Yes.
What I might actually do here in a little bit is take a little null oil and go into this crease here, this battle damage, because that'll make that look really nice. But I'm only gonna like apply it directly to that.
What you could try on the other leg, just to show the difference, is take a green wash and hit around the rivets to see if it makes it darker, and then hit the top of the rivets with the color that you want
That's a good idea.
after the wash. And that way, the wash doesn't wash out your metal color,
That's
but
a good
it'll
idea.
give you that still dark ring around it.
Mhm. That's a good idea. Let me get the rivets on this knee.
Use a green wash instead of the black wash. It'll help highlight the rest of the green, and you don't have to worry about it washing out your green.
Yes. And funny enough, I do have a green wash right here. Now it's going to be transparent green from Pro Acrylic. Let's see, I had it around here. Started pulling off colors when I was trying to get ready. When I was trying to get ready for potentially there's transparent green. That's what Jason's talking about. Let's give it a little bit of a shake. Gonna put just a little bit on my palette.
I don't think I can limit my color palette to 5 colors.
Ah, you know what? It's all right, man. All right. So let me grab a bigger brush. Well, it's like with me, like I can speed paint, but I really do enjoy taking my time in painting. So here, you're gonna see on this leg, with doing the green wash.
Should send a Alex painting scheme.
Yeah, man, that's a good green, but we're gonna see how it dries. one of the things with having a camera over your shoulder, you're trying to remember what you see, the camera doesn't necessarily see, but then by the same token, what the camera sees isn't what you're necessarily trying to paint. And you're like, oh, wait, no one's going to be able to see that. All right. So wash on one side, no wash on the other. And here's the thing. If this turns out to be horrible, the best part is it doesn't matter. It's my pieces, it's my time. It doesn't matter. If it ends up not being good,
Jason's.
that's okay. So we're gonna let that dry. I'm gonna actually hit over here with a little bit of null oil to let it soak in. Um, One of the things we should also mention is it depends on what your color scheme and what you're going for. If you're going for just if you're going for super ultra realistic and you need every highlight and you want it to look, perfect and stuff, then, maybe you don't do it as vibrant colors. But maybe you just want to have a little bit more fun with it. So that's the black on top, and then nut oil on some of these rivets. But you're going to notice, so it makes the rivet pop a little bit more, but it also gives it a little bit of an added shade underneath an area where you wouldn't necessarily see light. So it'll take the natural um, shadow that will be there and enhance it. One of the things with washes is, as with a lot of stuff with painting, less is more. Like, put a little bit of paint on your brush, put a little bit of wash on your brush. You don't have to go something wild and crazy. All right, so the wash is applied here. I did the overall wash here, but now I'm going to take the bronze and I'm going to go over onto those pieces. Honestly, Jason, I think right now, I think I like for my Gravediggers, I think I like this look better, just in general. Like that green is good, and it might be used for like maybe ranger cloaks or something, but I feel like that darkened everything
Dark,
so much.
shiny. Yeah, I agree.
But as we said,
But then you just go back over it with a layer of the other green, and it'll make it muted again. So
yeah,
hopefully,
yeah, I can always, if I don't like how this turns out, I still have it right there on my palette. I can just go over
the
it real
dark
quick.
is like the car just came off the showroom floor, kind of, right? You wanted
Yeah.
it like I've been in battle. I've been in the trenches. I'm new and shiny. I mean, it's a great green.
Oh, it is absolutely.
Give you a darker ring around the rivets. I don't even think it did that. I think that was just a failure idea.
No, hey, no idea is a failure idea. It's all a learning lesson.
Well, I mean, failure's not necessarily a bad thing. It didn't do what we wanted it to do, and you're not
That
gonna
is true.
know until you try.
Yeah.
And even when you try and you don't get what you want, you're not stuck with it. We can go back and do another paint of green on it and totally cover it up, and you'll never know.
Or I can leave it. And honestly, I probably will just leave it. And that's okay. It's
It's a mercenary, right?
yeah.
Maybe you
He
couldn't afford to paint the whole thing at once.
yeah, maybe it just got extra damage while he was going. You never know.
So,
Maybe he needs somebody and got some extra green on him, or maybe this side didn't. But no, I think this green is going to be a good color for my Gravediggers. And that was Uh, 3 parts um, dark camo green, um, 1 part transparent green, and then 1 part um, mixing median or metallic mixing median, as it were.
These toppers are kind of skinny. I had
Yeah.
one of them split on me. I don't know why, but that's fine. It's just supposed to be sand and sandbags, so we
Well,
probably
I mean,
cover that.
it's actually going to go on an actual base, so maybe they didn't think it needed to be that thick.
But only one of them did that out of the count two, 12, 15 that I printed.
Okay.
And it's only one that's slightly warped and split. And this barbed wire came out looking real nice.
Good. I'm excited about that, man.
Mags look good. Sand looks good. I just got to cut off this support structure from underneath and then throw it in the dryer unit.
I assume you do have gloves on because safety is key.
No, I'm licking this stuff clean. No, you don't do that. Resin is toxic until you cure it, people. Just kidding.
Yes.
Please know that I'm kidding. I do have latex gloves on.
Okay.
The only thing I don't have on is a mask, but I think inhaling some rubbing alcohol fumes won't kill me. Hopefully.
It's not going to kill you.
Hopefully.
Hope not. Because otherwise, I need to find another co-host. So I should mention that with Jason and I both being ex-military, our humor isn't what everyone else would necessarily like, and that's okay.
Was it described as dark?
Yeah, we definitely have a little bit of dark humor, my friends. So I was gonna say when I am not talking to Jason here on a stream, I am normally um, listening to different audiobooks, like fictional audiobooks, um, or I am listening to uh, different types of music. If I'm
Like
streaming, I
30
always have to go.
books, don't you?
What was that?
Nothing.
I'll just have to go back and listen to the audio later.
You said
Um,
you listen to those 30 books, don't you?
I do. You caught me. What's the one that's super popular with all the women groups now? The fourth wave or fourth wing or something?
I thought that was a dragon book,
It is.
but they
It's
have some
both.
romance in
I
little
from what I
fantasy.
understood from my missus, it's a little bit more than just romancing, my friend.
Oh, I see.
Ask Bix, be like, "Hey Bix, what's that book with dragons and it's a bodice ripper?" And she'll be like, "It's this book."
Dragon Bodice Ripper books. Do you have any of them? Is it Fourth Wing? She grins. A
I
grin.
called it. I called it. I know. I remember because when Sheila read those, I was like, "What are these?" And she's like, "Oh, just books." And I was like, "Oh yeah, there's never just a book."
My wife pulled one over on me and said, I just read this really great series and you should listen to it because I was just about to deploy. And of course, we deploy. I'm standing in the chow line waiting to get into the crew's mess to eat. And somebody looks over my shoulder and like, wow, I didn't know you were into those kind of books. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. My wife just recommended this book for me. And they're like, uh huh. I bet she did. And then turns out it was
A bodice
not
ripper?
quite a
We'll call
bodice ripper kind of book, but it was pretty
something a little bit
close.
something pretty close.
and I had to go back and talk to him. Like, so how did you know what kind? Oh yeah, I read that.
So Jason, you can see what I'm doing on Twitch. So if I ever get off camera, just say center up so that I can get back on. Otherwise,
The only
I'm.
thing we missed earlier was when you were mixing the paint. You're saying I'm doing this and that, and you were doing nothing on camera. That's all.
Oh, no, no. If you look on my small thing, my small palette, you'll see it. The upper left
Okay,
corner on my stream.
I see it. I see it.
So that's where all those colors. That's why I probably should eventually. Guess I can change it over now. Let's see. Now you'll see my super messy palette.
That's the only thing you tried to do. That I didn't even know if you were trying to do that on camera though, so I didn't think it mattered.
I wasn't really, but it now that you mention it, I should have. I should have done that. So these bronzes, what I'm probably gonna do, I probably will do a wash on these, because otherwise they'll just be way too shiny.
You want to get those holes black, right?
Yeah, I need those holes to be black too.
That watch will take care of that for you real quick. But if you had slap chopped that, it'd already be black. Just saying.
It would be, but I like I said, I did not slap chop this piece because it was already painted, or it was already primed and stuff when I got it. Um,
So it
so
doesn't
I
matter.
just.
There's no one right way to do it. You can
Oh
get the
yeah.
same effect multiple ways. But I, for quickness, overall end product, really good with less effort. Slap chop and speed paint's the way to go.
Yeah, actually, I do have some slap chop stuff. I have some of the. Well, I'm not going to show anything that I haven't put up yet on videos, but I do have Lilith 5 here, who was slap chopped. Move him. So she was actually slap chopped to give those natural highlights. Now I didn't when I did the colors. So some of the purples are going to be a little well. You might not see it as well because the camera angles and
Do you
stuff. But
have an elf face? It's now a dragon.
yeah, that's.
Used to be an elf, right?
I thought she was a human. Was Lilith? I thought she was a human. But if you look on some of the rocks and stuff like that, you'll see some of the natural highlights that came through, even on some of her armor spots. And this would be tournament ready. Well, I guess I have to paint. I'd have to put some sand down here and then paint the actual base. But this is well over um, 3 colors. And this took me a total of, I think, 2 hours to paint.
Yeah, I couldn't paint that fast. Well, it's called speed painting because your paint does multiple steps in the painting process for you right away, like the
Well,
highlight, the shade.
I didn't even
But
speed paint that. I just watered down. Well, technically, I made my own speed paints. I took paint and then I would do a 50-50, sometimes a 25-75 with paint to water. So by watering down your paints, you're basically making your own speed paints. Nowadays, they just sell speed paints. So all us old curmudgeons who know who used to do that by hand, now we can just go buy it.
also, you should water down your paints, generally speaking, unless you're using like speed paints for airbrush paints, right?
That is true.
That are already watered down to go through the thing, because
That is very true.
otherwise they're really thick, and then you're gonna more likely see brush strokes and obliterate small detail.
Yeah, well, so I guess I always add water in even without saying it, just because it's old habit.
Let's back up a little bit when you said you're going to add sand to the base and then paint the sand. Can you
Oh,
tell us
like,
why you would paint the sand on it?
oh yeah, of course. So let me get a good piece for an example for this. Hold on, my brush. Um, so if you don't paint the sand, it doesn't look realistic because the overall granulars of the sand just kind of look eh. Um,
Yeah, you're mixing two types of realism. Your eye sees the sand as natural and it looks real, and then the paint looks fake, right? So even though you try to paint the model to look realistic, you have actual real sand and paint trying to conflict with each other to say what's more real, right? So when you put actual sand on the base of your model that you painted, you need to paint the sand so the realism is the same. Does that make
yes.
sense?
All right. Yep. It's all right. So
Because your
here I'm going to show you an
subconscious
example.
is going to say something's wrong.
So I'm going to show you an example. So this is unpainted sand.
Can't see it. Yeah.
So that's just straight sand glued to a base. This is painted sand and rubble. So in here, some of it's gray, some of it's brown. I guess it might not even show. Yeah, it shows up a little bit. So some of it has been actually painted separate, different colors, so that it kind of
Is
makes it
how the
look more
colors
like.
match the model?
So they don't necessarily have to.
No, they don't have to, but you see how the tone, the brightness, the reflectiveness, it's all the same, right?
Style.
Whereas if you hold up the sand from the other model, the color and shininess and texture of that sand doesn't match or blend well with the model at all. They're total
No, it's
contradictory.
yeah, it doesn't. Not at all. This makes it look more realistic. It matches him.
The
Speaking of the
realism
guys,
is the same throughout the model.
yeah, this is a guy that I spent a lot of time trying to blend all of the skin and flesh. So my wife used to play Grimkin, and I used to put a lot of work into her Grimkin,
Yep.
so it would look really nasty and icky and good, because that's kind of what they are. I'd say probably some of my best pieces are that I've painted are Sheila's Grimkin. But here's the thing. So sometimes if you don't have a lot of time, you don't have to paint these rivets. So this is like when Jason earlier was talking about how you can go back and add detail after the fact. So let's say I wanted to speed paint this whole guy and get him done. All right. So I need to get three colors. I need paint different color on each piece. I might not necessarily paint these rivets to get the three color minimum because I'll have green and blacks and reds and stuff like that. Or, maybe these like this will be painted bronze, but the rivets would just be left because that's a lot of extra work. But then when you're going in after it's fully painted and stuff like that, and you're like, oh, I have some time, the rest of my army's painted, pick up the model and start doing the rivets. Because that's just one color. You take the time, put 15, 20 minutes in, and just get it done. But Jason, so we're about a 1 hour 20 minutes in. Is there anything you would like to add for the last 10 minutes of our initial episode?
One color
Oh,
and apply it to the whole model, and then you
say
move
again?
to the next color. Oh, I think I
You're
moved
you're
too
coming in
far
real
away from
quiet.
the computer. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you perfectly.
Okay, sorry. I was over by the 3D printer stuff.
That's okay.
I like how you used one color and went over the whole model with everything with that color, and then you move to the next color. When we're painting, I guess if you look at Alex's brush right there, he doesn't have paint going from the tip all the way to the barrel, right?
Yeah,
You want
it's
to try to
barely
keep only half your brush covered.
less than.
Uh,
Like I have maybe just that little like from my nail to the very tip is what has actual paint. because it'll naturally soak up higher up into the brush.
Exactly. But
I
for
actually
brush care, you
realized,
don't ever want to get paint all the way up to the barrel because then it gets in there and it'll span out your brush bristles and it'll
like, let
ruin
me
your
see
brush. So no matter how expensive your brushes are, if you get too much paint on them like that, it'll kill your brush.
here. Um, I let my kids use one of my dry brushes, and this is an example of the paint getting up there and just. I can. It's a dry brush, so it's not horrible, but it made it uneven, and that's what happens if paint gets
Yeah,
all the way up to the barrel.
yeah.
Yeah, I realized I thought I was done with all the green, and then I was looking, I was like, oh, I wanted to do his shoulder piece, the blast shield for his rocket launcher. Oh, so for brush care. So one of the things I do for brush care, so I don't leave my paint in my paint cup. So I should say that I actually have a paint cup off screen. Mine's labeled, hold on, it's labeled paint water, and in there is paint water. But I don't leave my paintbrushes in there. And then when I'm actually done
Never.
for the night, I have this. And I think this is what a lot of people use. And this is
Yes.
just you open it
Perfect.
up, you get it wet, put it in there, get some a little bit into your brush, just a little bit. Work it in. Don't pull on the actual the bristles because you'll damage the brush. And then rinse it out. Use a cloth. And when I say like a cloth, so I have a just a dishcloth that I just use constantly for different colors. And
That's what I like to talk about. What do you use while you're painting? Because I was taught a long time ago to use a microfiber towel that you can get from any dollar store or like anywhere, really,
mhm.
um, cheap. And you do not want to use paper towel.
Yeah, don't use
And
paper. Oh,
if
I mean,
you don't
people
want to
could.
use, go ahead.
Yeah, people could use paper towels. Here, I'll show you how to clean a brush real quick. All right. So I got some water on here. You can see the brush is wet. You can see you put in a little bit, and then I like to put a little bit of pressure, pull it, and you're actually gonna see the color will leach from the brush into the little. It's almost like a wax, like a putty, as it picks it up, and then you're gonna see the color slowly start to come out. I know some people like to use microfiber. I just use my dish towels. That's what I'm used to.
But
But you can definitely
it's
do microfiber.
Yeah, you don't want to use paper towels because what a paper towel is meant to do is to soak up liquid. And so when you are dipping your paintbrush into paint and then you decide you have too much paint on your bristles and you're trying to reduce the amount of paint on your bristles, when you touch it to a paper towel, the paper towel is not only going to reduce the amount of paint on your bristles, but it's going to start breaking down the paint itself. It's going to pull out some of the oils, it's going to pull out the water, and so you're going to be left with some of the binding agents and a lot of the pigment. And so when you go to paint your model, it's going to look chalky and powdery because the
Yeah.
paper towel actually disrupted the chemical composition of that paint.
All right. So there's still probably a little bit of paint on here, but if you look, it's mostly clean.
And shaped. If you leave a
Yeah, it's
little bit of
shaped.
soap, it helps shape it.
Because of how I drag and push, my brushes normally get this little curve on them. It's
Mm-hmm.
fine because then what I do the next like time or two is I just rotate it so the curve is down. and then eventually it just kind of works its way out. But yeah, you can use wax and stuff to get it reshaped. So I think we covered a couple different things. A little bit of use of washes. So this isn't bad over here. This looks pretty good. I just think I would like uh, this kind of more
The
like
shiny.
OD green. Yeah, it has like the
Yeah.
shiny. I like this green, but this is just it's not exactly what I was going with. I'm gonna leave both legs like that. Um, and then eventually when I get finished and I glue them back, I'm sure there'll be some people that will notice like, wait, those legs don't match. I'll be like, oh yeah, it was actually a learning lesson on a stream. But right now,
It's a mercenary mech. He didn't have money to paint the whole thing at the same
yeah,
time.
I got distracted
Yeah,
by
but
him
if
and I
you
didn't really
wanted
put
it to
his.
match the other leg, you can just go repaint it.
Yeah, man, this turned out really well. I'm happy with how all of these things are working and doing well. Um, oh yeah, here, if you see the buckles and how shiny. Let me zoom in. Oops. So if you see how shiny the buckles are, they wouldn't be that shiny
If you dipped
if
it.
yeah if I dipped it, or even if I did the agraths on it after it was done. But you can see in here, there's a little bit more detail.
Yeah.
But thank you for everyone for coming out to our first episode of Let's Get You Painted for the Let's Get You Painted podcast. Um, Again, I'm Alec, and you can find me here
Jason,
on I guess Facebook. You can find me on Alec Luda. That's my name. I don't have to worry about getting doxxed. I dox myself. um, and Then you can find me on Instagram at Racked and Confused, or YouTube at Racked and Confused. I'm sorry, Twitch at Racked and Confused, or you could find me on YouTube at Let's Get You Painted. Thank you so much. And Jason, where can they find you?
on Let's Get You Painted only, because that's the only place I'm going to post.
Fair enough. Well, thank you so much for everyone for tuning in for our first podcast episode, and we hope to have more for you guys in the future. And then look out for more painting tutorials and painting videos as we speed paint. And if I do get these gravediggers, fingers crossed, that you will see me try to paint about 200 points worth of gravediggers in probably 3 months, because I need to be painted in August, end of
Cool.
August. So we're here in April and May, June, July. Well, 3 months, 3 or 4 months. Um, because by August I can't really paint that much more. I gotta be getting those games in for practicing. So I got about 3 months if I can get gravediggers in the next 2 weeks.
Month. Yeah.
Yeah, to to
You
get
can
them.
get games in while they're not fully painted yet.
I guess I can, but it's more on like what do I want to dedicate time to? Do I want to dedicate it to um, painting, or do I want to dedicate it to playing? And I'd really like to first really dedicate to get everything painted, because not only will it help the channel, but also it'll inspire me. I'll do a lot of theory crafting in my head on what I'm painting. But again, all right, so we're going to end it here. Thank you so much, guys, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.